The reason I teach business owners to filter anybody they listen to based on how they answer those three questions is, obviously, if somebody's giving you an opinion or giving you guidance or giving you advice and they're doing less than you're currently doing, or they've never done what you want to do, then their information is actually going to be inaccurate. It's going to be false, and it's going to pull you off target. I want to pivot to a funny conversation that you and I had in passing. Anybody that's worked with me knows I talk about advisors, consultants, brokers, lawyers, accountants. Yeah. And I say, look, if you're going to those people for their technical skill set, that's one thing. But if you're asking any of those people for business advice, then first you got to do your homework. And if you're not doing your homework and you're taking their advice, my experience is there's more shitty advice than there is good advice.
Yeah.
And I teach people to ask the three questions. What's the most amount of money you've ever made in a year? What's the biggest thing you've ever built, quantified by revenues, number of employees, and profitability? And then third, what's the biggest exit you've ever had? The reason I teach business owners to filter anybody they listen to based on how they answer those three questions is, obviously, if somebody's giving you an opinion or giving you guidance or giving you advice and they're doing less than you're currently doing, or they've never done what you want to do, then their information is actually going to be inaccurate. It's going to be false, and it's going to pull you off target. And it may be that they're trying to be helpful, but at the end of the day, if they've never done it, they can't be helpful because they don't actually know anything about it.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is you end up going out in the marketplace, working with people who present themselves a certain way, giving them money, exchanging your data, your information, and then you're like, let's go, and then it doesn't work out, and you only know in reflection that you made a big bad decision. This is true for hiring people to go to work in your business too. So you and I were talking about that, and you were like, well, guess what? We hired this business broker. We've been out shopping these deals, and we find out that they're using agreements that do not protect you as the buyer, and actually they were using your interest in those businesses to then flip those businesses to private equity at a higher price so they can make a higher commission. I just want you to tell a little bit of that story. You don't have to name names, but I want to give some free advice from Brandon Dawson to my listeners, since you are watching, by the way, my show, The B. Dawson Show. So I feel entitled to give you a free piece of advice once you hear this data. Tell them what you and I talked about.
Well, as you've taught me and John so well, you don't know what you don't know, right? So you go out there into the marketplace and you find people that are going to try to help you accomplish your goal and scale. And what happened in our situation, this is not the first time it's happened to us. We've been raising cash, John and I, to buy practices and expand. So we're ready to go. We know exactly what we're looking for. We know exactly on cost of goods where we could save ourselves money because we own our own lab. The different services that we've partnered with you and other Cardone venture partners to obviously save us in the future even more. On IT side, we're looking at now, there's so many different avenues that people don't know yet. And the broker took what we had and signed an agreement, and we found out when they shopped it to outside, private equity started coming in, and they used us as a platform. And we have used as the baseline platform for some of these practices. So they're saying, why are they looking at it? Well, if they're looking at it and they're optometrists, they know why they're looking at it. And then we have been outbid because they were not exclusive deals when we signed with them. And you put so much time in, our team puts so much time in and effort, and you're researching, and we go off our platform. When our platform, we have
something you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in time engineering.
Exactly.
And so and then mistakenly you gave access to the data.
Yes.
And then they found businesses, and instead of bringing them to you in good faith because you hired them, you gave them the data, they use that to shop against you, trying to drive a relationship and higher fee with the private equity guys.
Absolutely. So they used us to get more money, and a lot of these deals are not what you initially think, because a lot of them want to hire the doctors back for 5 years, and then they have to hit certain benchmarks in order to earn the money. And some of it's earning it in stock, not in actual money in the bank. And there's so many different ways that they orchestrate because they engineer these deals. This is what they do for a living. And they're looking at it as, how can I take advantage of the optometrist that didn't have the time to run his business efficiently because he was focusing on patient care? And we're passionate about giving the doctor what he needs on the business side so he could still capitalize on his investment and all of that sweat equity he's put in over decades.
Yeah. So if you're a doctor, you own a practice, you're a he, you're a she, and you're sitting there and you're thinking you're going to go and find somebody that's going to help you figure out how to buy somebody else or sell your business for the highest value. I'm just telling you, if you don't do your homework and if you're not talking to the right people, I know firsthand. I've bought over 138 businesses in my career, and believe it or not, I have one right now I'm doing a deal on where they're selling me the business that the day I close, I'll be able to go recap all the assets and make money on the deal because the banker, the broker on it, is so ignorant about how to properly sell a business. Now, some people would say to me, well, Brandon, that's not really fair. You're taking advantage of the business owner. And I say, that ain't my responsibility. I didn't hire the banker. I'm the buyer. So I don't feel bad about buying a business that's being way undersold because somebody chose to hire a poor consultant, a poor advisor, didn't do their homework. But what I am going to tell you, in fact, I shot 20 hours of content on this subject. I am going to tell you that you can buy businesses all day long for less than what you could go get a loan against them for the day after you bought them. Because sellers don't know how to sell, and there are so many poor advisors that don't know how to advise and don't know how to properly run a process. And I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times. So you're listening to this show. This is just a little added benefit. I told you I was going to give you one piece of advice on the B. Dawson show, on this particular show, relative to this very specific conversation. And that is, do your homework and make sure the people you're talking to know what the hell they're doing and they have the right intentions.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, you're just educating your competition. You're expending and expelling energy with people who are going to take advantage of you. And so, look, here's the deal. Some people might be saying right now, Scott, well, how do I know Brandon Dawson's not one of those guys? Mm-hmm. And I'll say, if you don't know me, then you don't know that I'm not one of those guys. So the only way you're going to know is to know.
Absolutely.
And ask me the same questions that we say you should ask anybody else.